In tonight's top story, Malik Wilson takes us around the region for a closer look as the winds show little sign of letting up.
Debris is everywhere as high winds roll through our communities. Here you can see a trampoline that has completely destroyed this homeowner's fence. I spoke to a couple of community members who have been affected by the storm and those who are just simply trying to help with cleanup. Nicholas and Lauren, if you look behind me, you can see that the garage, the roof, and just various other parts of this building are just completely charred. For the last 2 weeks, peaceful protesters have been here in the Williston community, holding signs and being a voice for a particular cause. I'm here outside the Minot Air Force Base getting a glimpse of the aftermath of last night's fire. Now, just a few minutes ago behind me, fire crews were still outside trying to manage the fire and trying to determine a cause. If you're wanting to get your license, it's a two-step process. First, in the classroom. Second, behind the yokes of the plane. The North Dakota Department of Health says there has been no official reported cases across the state, but Winger says that is not going to stop the campus from taking precautionary actions. I'm Malik Wilson, and I'm here in Watford City, where it's National Night Out. After this break, I'll be joined by Watford City Police Department, where they show us just what's in store. About 2.2 million adolescents between the age of 12 and 17 drank alcohol in just 1 month.
To get together and enjoy some time in the community.
Awesome. Well, later on, Nicholas and Lauren, we will be joined by a group of kids, maybe even some parents, to tell us a little bit about their experience tonight. I'm going to give it back to you guys in the studio. Thank you.
What a nice night. There was no freedom of speech. There is no freedom in whatsoever.
This is Dee Dee Pugh, who asks that her face be blurred for the safety of her family still living in Myanmar.
My nickname in Burma is Demo, like, democracy, short. We're not even allowed to call that. We have to be careful calling that to a little child if you see some soldier or someone in military walking by, because they could have shot the kid.
This is just a small glimpse of what Pugh describes as living under a communist government.
As a kid, what I knew was you have to study hard, you have to get scholarships, you have to go abroad, you have to make your life better. And that's exactly what I did, right?
Finding herself living a free life in Minot for nearly 2 years now, the unrest in her country still continues even today.
So basically, whatever you do, you can never attain a full 100% democracy, because there will always be 25% of military officers, vetoing every decision that you make. So the election victory was very important in changing that constitution.
Pugh says Aung San Suu Kyi was elected to lead the country, but what was supposed to be a time of hope turned bad.
On the February 1st, my mom called me at 6 a.m. like, hey, I heard that there's actually a coup happening, and the Democratic leader, the president, the democratically elected president got arrested.
She says the Myanmar military seized power and detained the newly elected leader. They then shut down internet, phones, and most other outside access to the world. Myanmar protesters like Pugh's good friend Min Min have since taken to the streets in an effort to overrule the corruption of the military.
The motion is to restore our human rights and democracy back, and then we are demonstrating for that.
Pugh says there's no timeline as to when Suu Kyi could be released, but she's worried that if she's never given her rightful place, this could be their last chance at democracy for a while. Reporting for KX News in Minot, Malik Wilson.
This is really about getting BIA law enforcement officers out on the reservation.
According to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Great Plains region currently accounts for about 60% of all BIA law enforcement vacancies.
This is a big area of Indian country where only about 40% of the law enforcement positions are filled. So this academy will train BIA law enforcement officers to get them out there on duty.
The U.S. Indian Law Enforcement Advanced Training Center will include advanced courses on complex subject matters like missing persons investigations, drug interceptions, forensics, and the Bridge program. These are all areas Scott Davis, Executive Director of the North Dakota Indian Affairs Commission, says are critical.
When you're looking at MMIW in particular, it takes, every law enforcement agency in that area, that state, to first identify where he or she's at, to try and solve the case. So it's just not one jurisdiction. And that's the unique thing about this academy.
Through his role on the Senate Appropriations Committee, Senator Hoeven secured $2.5 million to conduct the specialized training at Camp Grafton.
They do a lot of training at this National Guard base of a lot of different kinds. They have all the facilities. We need the classrooms, the dormitory rooms. It's an incredible facility on the lake.
Currently, prospective officers are forced to go south to Artesia, New Mexico. But Senator Hoeven believes the nation's second academy here will make all the difference.
We've needed one on the northern tier for a long time. Now this will fill that need so that, again, for across the Great Plains and a lot of areas around the country, now they'll be able to come either here at Camp Grafton or go to Artesia.
Hoeven says this serves the ultimate goal of keeping everyone safe at all times. Reporting for KX News in Devil's Lake, I'm Malik Wilson.